Alright, here we are, time for an update. Title is the first harvest, but I'm going to be honest with you, this is my second harvest. I had a problem with my video camera, and when I harvested the first one I thought it all came out pretty well, but when I put it on the computer everything was all jumbled. So hopefully this will come out a lot better. What you see here is the normal position that it sits throughout the day. I got the little blocks to hold the front up and stuff like that. I get a lot more sun here on the north side of the shed than I thought, the sun being high midday like it is right now. The insulation seems to help out a lot. It's holding right about, I'd say, average is about 78 degrees. I did have one problem though. The problem that I had was after my last harvest, I also made, I harvested about 4 gallons, but 3 to 4 gallons of vermicompost. I made 2 5-gallon containers of worm tea. The top of the bed was a little dry, so I added some of that worm tea to the, help moisten it up, and figured that would help it out. And then I left on a 4-day trip. Came back and the bin was almost 100 degrees in spots. Apparently that was a bad idea adding that in. So had to do some rapid cooling, and it took me about a week to get it back down to around the 80 range. And I'd say I lost probably a third of my worms. But I'm still holding strong. They reproduce quickly and they're real active again, and I'm probably somewhere in the area of 4 to 6 pounds right now. Just guessing that I lost probably about 2,000 worms. I shouldn't have done a major change like that, an experiment before leaving for 4 days without being able to monitor it. So lessons learned. I won't be adding compost tea to the mix no more, especially a cup and a half like I added last time. Okay, well, let's try our luck and see how this video comes out showing you the harvest. And here we see my weekly yield. Actually, it's about 10 days since my last harvest, mainly because I had that problem with the temperature. I would say that's a good 2.5 to 3 gallons easy. I'd be conservative saying 2.5. I'd say I could fill up three milk jugs easy with this, maybe a hair more, but it looks looking pretty good. Hasn't been screened. My wife's going to be using this, amending her rose beds and stuff, and then if she has anything left over, I'll probably go ahead and screen it then. It's looking pretty good. Look in the bin. I just got done feeding them again. I feed them very lightly since the temperatures here is in the mid-80s. Very humid. And after I feed them, I always put a layer of food down, a little bit of bedding, and then I put another thick layer of cardboard like you see right here and moisten it. Put a moisture meter in it. Right now it's showing 77%, so it's doing pretty good. And my temperature's holding strong right at 80 right now. Should have moved this over to the east side or west side of the shed, I believe. I figured the north side would be the best, but apparently it's still getting sun here. But mid-80s, and it's holding more consistently towards the high 70s. I'm still only at 80 because of the high temperatures I had not too long ago. But it's doing real well. How I feed them is I use a Bokashi mix, and I'll show you how I do that here in just a second. But right here, this is what she's looking like, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post. Now let's go look at the Bokashi. Here I am in the shed, and that's my container there that I keep my worm food in. Basically, it's a Bokashi mixed along with worm bedding that I have shown how I make in my previous videos. All this is, in short, is a 103 quart storage container. You can get at a lot of establishments, and I also put on a large soffit vent, aluminum. It's got a little screen in there to keep some of the larger bugs out. And I just simply attached it with aluminum pop rivets and some caulking silicone to keep the larger bugs from getting in. Obviously small ones can still get in. The screen's not real fine that's behind that. Let's take a look on the inside. Now here's the inside. You really might not be able to tell too much in this light, but basically what it is, it's my initial bedding mix that I have on my previous video, and I'll show you how I make that. I take that, put it in this container here, and I make basically a trough, a little valley for it, and I take my 5 gallons of Bokashi and pour inside. Then I get about 1.5 cups of soil out of my out of the garden. Put it on top of that and then cover it up. Wait 1 week, come back again, and I just mix it again by hand. Just come through like that, and I notice it gets pretty hot in one week. This is going on the 3rd week. Right on the 2nd week, I come in here once a week and aerate it, just like this, and the temperature's pretty much gone. This is the 3rd week. There's no temperature at all in it. I mean, it's just room temperature. And I give a good handful, but this much, about every other day to the worms, and they seem to love it. They get through it quick. The reason why I take this extra step is Bokashi is very low on pH, 3.5 to about 4.0. And by doing this and waiting about 2 weeks before using it with the worms, this one here tested at 6.8, so it brings it back up to a neutral pH. That way you don't run into problems with pot worms or having too acidic conditions for your worms. But it works out real well. If you don't know what Bokashi is, there's a lot of links on YouTube and Google. I suggest you might want to check it out. It's pretty nice way of doing it if you want to still feed food scraps to your worms and not have to worry about increase in temperature. Hope this helps. Comment down the bottom if you have any questions or comments, and we'll update you in a couple months, let you know how the longevity is on this worm bin.